Okay, so let's get into this. How to actually become a profitable trader. Now, I'm going to be saying everything from experience, how I actually went from being that trader that had the low win rate from before versus the trader that I am these days. And let me tell you one thing, throughout this entire video, all I'm going to be providing is simply just value. So, watch the entire thing from start to finish. Trust me, I'm going to be explaining a lot over here. So starting off with the difference. What is it in my head or in my psychology that has changed from before versus now? Now there's a few things that really made the difference. So let me just explain the start of my journey. Back when I really started, I was obviously introduced to a mentor, Mark Fraser, if you guys know him, and essentially I learned both technical and fundamentals of trading. Now you can understand when it comes to SMC traders, most of SMC traders only focus on technicals, right? Now you've got to understand what is it that actually moves the markets. The markets do not move because it's reacting off of your order block or it's reacting off of some support and resistance zone. It's simply because of supply and demand. There is supply and demand of actual currencies across the world. It's the big movers, it's the big banks and institutions that actually move the markets. Especially if we're trading on prop firms, just know it's all simulated. We're not affecting the market at all. Even with the smaller accounts with CFDs, for example, CFD accounts do not even affect the market at all. That's its own thing created by the broker. So anyways, you've got to understand that technicals is not the only thing that you have to learn. So it's the fundamentals. So that's step number one. Actually understand that you have to look at both sides of the markets, both the technicals and both the fundamentals as well. Now, what's the next thing as well? When it comes to your actual strategy, I'll explain how I used to be. Just looking at a simple chart, essentially what I would do was something like this. Now, let's draw up a little scenario. Usually what I would do is, for example, I'd identify that we're in a downtrend, for example. Now, I would look at certain key zones. So, for example, I might have an order block here, I might have an order block here, and a few other places as well. And I would think to myself, okay, how do I actually get into these areas? All I would do is I'll simply set limits at these kind of zones and I would just let price play through. So first of all, I didn't have the fundamental backing as well. I was simply just trading SMC. The second part as well is I was leaving myself overexposed to the markets with multiple positions, but not only that, with limits. This is one thing that I've learned not to do, especially nowadays as I've developed more and more. But the thing that I want to say over here is actually you need to refine your strategy to make sure that it has the most amount of confirmations as possible. When I started to employ this into my own strategy and realize that there are things I can do, there's a great guide online that says it's actually the happiness expert on the Diary of a CEO. If any of you actually watch this, he was saying if you actually want to mitigate any sad things in your life or any negative things in your life, you have to identify what's letting you down. It's the same thing in technical analysis as well. This is why I really have to put a priority on journaling. So before we get into technical analysis or anything like that, let's actually put the second part, journaling and documenting trades. So when it comes to journaling and documenting trades, why is it so important? Because you can actually identify when things have worked for you and when they have not. This could be as simple as keeping a document on your notes section on your iPhone or whatever platform you use, even on Windows. You could just put it in some sort of document folder. Literally just put it in here. Test whenever you get into any trades, put it in here, put the photos, put the before, put the after, explanation as well. And it's as simple as that. Once you've got this going and you're doing this every single month, you can understand, why did I get into certain losses? There has to be an explanation for it. Why did I actually get into good trades as well? Why did I enter any break-even trades? All that kind of stuff, eventually you're going to understand, how you can actually improve your strategy and what are the good points, what are the bad points. Once you actually get to that, journaling will be one of the biggest things. Now, another thing, number 3, and this is one of the biggest things that actually made an impact on my journey, was moving to a mechanical approach. So, why are we moving to a mechanical approach? Understand, and this is taking it back to the point of the graphs that I was actually drawing. When it comes to simple SMC technical analysis, you're very overexposed to discretion. Now, discretion in simple words is simply your opinion. You want to make things objective and not subjective. That's the biggest thing that you want to have in your trading journey. So how do I actually improve that? We've talked about that in the previous video. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. It was a simple 6 steps that you can to actually get to a mechanical strategy. So watch that after this video and you'll see. But essentially what you're going to be doing is moving any doubt outside of your strategy. You're simply going to be able to stick to it and understand that, look, I have a set of rules that I stick to, and these things I will not move away from. Once you've got that, you're going to be good to go. Number 4, once you've got the mechanical strategy in line, there's going to be one of the biggest things, and this is extensive backtesting. I say the word extensive backtesting because most people, more than 2 years, one pair. Most people do not even bother to do something like this. When people say, oh, when people come up to me, I'll give you a little example. They come up to me and they ask me, oh, Diamant, I'm still not seeing any profitability and I've been trading for 3 years. Okay, so let's identify it from a mechanical approach. Let's understand, what is it? What's your trading routine? What are you doing? How did you actually get to that point? And what are your current habits? So when I ask them, for example, okay, do you understand your strategy? They say yes at first. I say to them, can you put it on one sheet of paper and stick to it in a few lines? Then they say, oh, there's a few things here and there that I have to guess sometimes. It's not always the same. All right, cool. You don't have a strategy that you can stick to. Some people have discretional strategies, but they know it inside and out. But when it comes to a mechanical strategy, it eases it. It makes it a lot simpler for you to actually understand it. Okay, cool. The next thing I actually ask, how long have you backtested this for? Do you actually have the data that you can rely on to be able to become a profitable trader and really stick to it? Really understand what your strategy is telling you and how you can actually implement it into the markets. The answer they give me is no. I say to them, next time you come and message me back again, make sure that you've backtested it. And at that point, we'll be able to analyze it. Why? Because we've got the data. If your strategy and you've tested it over and over and over again and you can't get above that 60-70% win rate, you understand that, okay, I need to change up the strategy a bit. I need to learn a bit more. I need to perhaps go to somewhere to actually learn it. That's the type of thing you can understand. But without all of that knowledge and without all of that experience with backtesting, you won't be able to do it. When it comes to all of this, now all that's left, and this is the biggest thing that's really helped me, is sticking to your rules. By this, you cannot tell me that you have a mechanical strategy, you journal, you understand technical and fundamentals, you've done extensive backtesting, and if you stick to your rules, you're still not profitable. It must be for another reason. Now, when it comes to actually sticking to your rules, what do I mean by this? It's not only just within your trading rules, but it's in general life as well. What are you doing outside of your life? Are you actually taking control of other parts of your life that you can really improve? Not just in general life, but it will also have a translation into your trading as well. So, for example, I'll give a little example for myself. As a religious person, I wake up in the morning and I pray. When that happens, in a way, there will be times, for example, where I have to have that discipline to be able to wake up when no one else is waking up across the world, and you want to get out of your bed. It's really hard to do so, but you build that discipline, and that's something that I'm working on every single day. Even, for example, when it comes to fitness or something like that, you know that you have to have that discipline to see good results. It's the same thing with trading. This is why one of my mentors, he even tells me, if you have discipline in other areas of your life and as a complete package, that will translate also into your trading as well. And I really do stick by that every single day. So throughout this entire video, I think I've really broken it down into 5 simple steps. What's actually made the difference? For those of you that have come for technical analysis and everything, I'll give you one last thing that will really, really help. And I've talked about this briefly in another video, but we'll talk about it in more detail in some others. When it comes to confirming any of your areas, especially when you're looking at supply and demand zones, don't enter with just limits. Do this instead. So rather than entering just on a simple limit, what you're going to wait for is something like this. Wait for your area to be hit. You don't know exactly which point of interest is actually going to hold up. So the way you eliminate this doubt is by confirming your trade. And I don't mean by having something like this, where it's a simple change of character on the low time frame and you enter, because it still can be hit and miss at times. What you're going to be waiting for is an extra piece of confirmation. You wait for that low time frame change of character, it pulls back. As soon as you see that pullback, once you get an engulfing candle outside of the area that you have, you enter a market execution. your stop loss either just above the recent high, or if you want to go a bit more conservative, above the entire zone. And then you would look for, let's just say, for example, the next level of liquidity, and whatever areas after that. But yeah, that's one simple tip that I really have for everyone that wants that technical piece of information. But again, guys, remember, this entire video was not for that. This entire video was actually to rewire yourself. Something that I'm doing more and more these days is a lot more knowledge, a lot more self-development as well. And I think that pairs in very, very nicely to trading as well. So I think anyone who is a good trader is good in every other facet of life, because you have to be. You have to keep yourself disciplined and sticking to your rules. Having a 9 to 5 job, even when I came from as an architect back in the day, I could slack off at times because there was a team there. But when you're a trader, you know that everything is relying on you. It is, as Dan says, for example, my mentor, he says it's you versus you. It's the whole, reality of being a trader. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it from this video. If you did take any knowledge from this, please comment below, like, subscribe. And yeah, if you haven't joined so already, I do have the free Discord down below. And you can obviously, check all the free chats, the traders, all that kind of good stuff. I even send my public analysis in there. So yeah, guys, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.